Flying is an absolute joy.
I was not prepared for that takeoff. Me neither. Ma'am, I apologize for screaming at the top of my lungs.
Hop on board, enjoy a movie and a glass of wine. But this is insane. I want to challenge myself and see if I can fly around the entire world. But not just that, but can it be done exclusively on the Airbus A380? 7 flights, 6 connections, 7 countries, and all within 10 days. Do I have what it takes? I think so. Will I survive? Let's find out.
Do not attempt this at home, unless you can be bothered to fly around the entire world, as it can lead to severe tiredness, boredom and staring at your watch. No travel bloggers were harmed during the making of this video, but they were extremely relieved to be at home in a comfortable bed.
Things off at London Heathrow Terminal 4, and on today's leg we're flying somewhere much warmer because the weather is pretty crap in London. It's raining outside, and we're going to Doha, Qatar.
I could have flown from my local airport in Birmingham on Emirates A380, but Qatar had a cheaper deal from London Heathrow. And besides, with a little help from my one world status, I can select seats and get lounge access.
Really looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm really quite nervous because this is a lot of flights in economy around the entire world in the A380. I can feel being
I know it's easy for your mind to wander.
I can feel being completely exhausted by the time I get to America.
The check-in queue for the economy was pretty long. Screw that. So it's off the left hand side to use the much less crowded priority queue. Don't blame me, I'm only human, and with this being the first journey of 7, I need to be kinder to myself. Just quickly to motivate myself by seeing the weather outside, and then it's off to immigration, which was a pretty easy affair, and I was through in no time. So what are the rules for my trip? Surely everybody loves rules, right?
So the rules for this journey are pretty simple. Have to try and get as many flights as possible, as many countries, and also I can't self-upgrade myself in money. If they choose to upgrade me for free, that's great. If not, I'm just going to suffer economy. But first we're going to one of Heathrow Terminal 4's best kept secrets.
Terminal 4 is pretty awesome, because it hosts a wide variety of different airplanes, but also has a viewing deck, which is only available to those who are flying. It's just a shame that, as mentioned earlier, the weather was still crap. Magazine in hand, I'll save the review of the lounge for when me and Brent fly on Qatar's A380 in business class. Be sure to hit the bell below so you don't miss out. While I patiently wait to board, let's have a look at the map for our first flight. QR4 to Doha will start off the total with a distance of 3,239 miles. And taking 7 hours. As you can imagine, I was eager to get the show on the road, so let's board.
Welcome aboard flight number 1, which is to Doha in the Boeing 777.
What?
Oh my god!
When I booked this, I was flying the Airbus A380, but Qatar decided to cancel the flight. My only option without a really long connection was on the Boeing 777-300, so sadly for the first journey, this is a fail. The first flight was easy peasy, having left London at a really decent time, settling into a movie and enjoying the refreshments. Qatar is only 2 hours ahead of the UK, so as we begin our approach into Doha, it's only 9 PM in the UK. But locally, it's nearly midnight. And as we pulled up next to this Indigo A320, I was eager and willing for my next flight.
It's funny how you look at things. This is day 2 because it's gone past midnight in Doha to Qatar. We're now about to catch the next flight, which is an A380, which is exciting, over to Bangkok.
I did previously fly this route when I got to splash some air miles and experience Qatar's beautiful first-class product. But no luxury for me today. I have, however, snagged one of the best seats on board. I'll just quickly go see the large yellow bear, which is sort of my tradition now when I come to Doha.
One of the biggest challenges on the way will be whether to adjust to the local time or to stick with what I know from home. Because you think about it, we're going around the entire world, and that's just going to really mess with my head.
You would think seeing planes all the time, the excitement would wear off, but it certainly doesn't with the Airbus A380. I'll be sharing some interesting facts along the way. Anyway, here's the next journey map. This next journey leg is really going to test my endurance. Departing Doha at 1:35 in the morning, we'll get into Bangkok just after midday local time, which is perfect to head to the hotel and fall asleep. I love exploring Bangkok, but I need to rest, otherwise this trip will kill me.
Welcome to flight number 2.
You may not care, but the seat I've chosen will make all the difference. Over to the seat map. Qatar's Airbus A380 has 405 seats in economy. That's a lot of people, and on the lower deck it's in a dense 343 configuration. Besides the bulkhead seats with extra legroom, the only saving grace is 68D, which has no seat in front of it because of an access point in the floor. 83 rows of economy cover the entire lower deck, but if only they knew, because at the very rear there's a set of stairs which take you to the second floor. I will leave the mystery of the second floor for the full review, but all you need to know is this is the premium level, and I've chosen the seat here because it's more forgiving in a 242 configuration. You also get to see the fancy bar, which sadly I can't use. C28A will do me nicely, a good quality touchscreen display and a tail count which is awesome.
Welcome aboard this Qatar Airways flight. Please pay attention as we take you on a journey to our many destinations.
Mood lighting in a movie about a very bleak future, the cabin crew sent me off from the Philippines, and they are so lovely. A tasty mocktail and a chicken sandwich are a little on the light side, but this isn't a very long flight, only taking 6 hours 55 minutes from door to door. It probably seems like a long time because of the time difference, which is beginning to take its toll on me. With this very sad sight of a mini graveyard that features this airplane's fallen sisters, we made it into Bangkok, and I'm feeling pretty good, but it's only journey 2 of 7.
Welcome to the end of journey number 2. We're here at Bangkok. I'm going to get my bag, I'm going to town, and I'm going to have a long, well-earned sleep.
After a beautiful rest downtown, I managed to sleep off the jet lag, eat and explore a little of the city. I really love Bangkok. Yes, it has a side which is not so positive, but it's full of beauty, culture, and the people are so friendly. Did I mention the food? Amazing. The city has a population of 11 million and is divided by the Chao Phraya River. We weren't here too long ago, having flown over on Finnair in what is an incredible product on the Airbus A350. We must do that again. Sadly, it's time to leave the city behind and head back to Suvarnabhumi Airport for today's flight. Can you guess who we're flying? We didn't have many options. We could have flown Singapore Airlines direct to Singapore, but where's the fun in that? Instead, we've previously flown this route with a 5-star airline on the same route but in first class. I swear we do fly in other cabins. The flight is just over 2 hours, but add another notch onto our belt and that's to Hong Kong, adding a further 1,074 miles onto our trip log.
So while I go to the check-in, let's have a look at the journey so far and what we've done up to this point.
Having checked in and declined a paid upgrade to business class, I'm off in search of food. I do have priority pass, and if you see my full economy review for Emirates, it was such a good experience. I was also surprised to see the Oman Air on the list, and despite not being very big, it's a pretty lounge. One of the challenges I always face is trying to get on board as early as possible, to record as much as I can without invading others' privacy where possible. The boarding was chaotic and I was genuinely surprised. No matter though, because I've settled into my seat for this very short trip over to Hong Kong. A green Thai curry, delicious. White wine which wasn't terrible, it is economy, and Bob's Burgers, and the time flew by. Another wonderful flight on a 5-star airline, and that's 2 out of 3 on the Airbus A380. Just FYI, this was a wonderful way to travel between Bangkok and Hong Kong, costing £103 for economy ticket. We're back in the future to try the business class.
So that was flight number 3. It was really good, really enjoyed it. Now it's off into town for another rest. The jet lag really has caught up with me, so I'm looking forward to the next leg. I'll be going towards Singapore.
Having collected my bag, I'm staying locally in Tung Chung, which is just next to the airport, because tomorrow's flight is going to be a long one. If you hadn't noticed, it's Year of the Dragon, which is pretty exciting. Hong Kong is epic. Like Bangkok, it's full of culture, and while we recommend you stay in TST, which has the best view of the light display at night, Hong Kong Island is also full of goodies, including the Peak and those beautiful old trams which have been operating since 1904. If you're sure to ride them, it costs you 30p.
Welcome to day 5. In today's video we're going on Singapore Airlines on the A380 down to Singapore and then on to Sydney, and that'll be journey number 4 and 5 on the A380.
After taking in the beauty of Hong Kong, I'm making my way by bus to the airport for today's flight, which departs at a very pleasant 15:45, for Singapore taking just under 4 hours. Hong Kong's international airport is a good 45 minutes from TST, and that's because the original airport, Kai Tak, which I wish and would love to have fond memories of but was too young, was closed down due to restraints on size and being difficult to land at.
That's a surprisingly long journey. It takes about 50 minutes to get from the city to the airport, and that's on the A22 bus. You go from Tim Sao Choi, you can go on the A21 as well.
If you've seen our videos, you'll know that it's killing me not to be flying with Cathay Pacific, because the lounges here are incredible, and one of the very few in the world to feature a bathtub in their exclusive cabana. Unfortunately for me, their widebody fleet consists of Airbus A350s and Boeing 777s, so they just weren't an option. No special treatment today, because I just haven't flown Singapore Airlines enough. What I should have done is concentrated on Star Alliance, which would have given me lounge access. Anyway, let's get checked in and then we'll go explore the airport. Besides the beautiful decorations for Chinese New Year and celebrating the Year of the Dragon, which I am not, I'm a rabbit apparently, which in Chinese astrology means I have elegance, kindness and sensitivity. The last one being not so good when you're playing with exhaustion. I went off topic. Back to things to see in the airport, which include the pretty new Sky Deck, which is a must for aviation enthusiasts, featuring sky-high views of the north side of the airport. Hong Kong's international airport has become quite quirky over the last few years. Chess anyone? Now I'm off in search of a plug and something to drink. So using my priority pass, I can quickly visit the Plaza Premium Lounge. I have never been here before, and while I charge every known device to man, it's time for today's journey map. Today is going to be a long one. Departing Hong Kong for Singapore, we're adding another 1,610 miles. But today is a two-parter with an extremely tight connection in Singapore of 55 minutes. Why did I pick this flight? Oh yes, because it's the only route with the A380 without spending a night in Singapore, although that would have been wonderful. If I manage to make the second flight, I'll be adding on a further 3,918 miles, all the way to Sydney, taking 7 hours and 45 minutes. It's a simple livery, but it is very beautiful. As tempting as it was to upgrade to something a little more premium, my bank account panicked and decided it couldn't spare the change. Their economy product is really good though, and the big surprise being that what is usually reserved for business class and above is a hot towel. You would be amazed how much you sweat on a flight. Gross. But an interesting fact.
Welcome aboard another incredible Airbus A380.
Every time I fly them, the safety video is such a reminder of how good Singapore is. I really need to go back.
Welcome aboard Singapore Airlines. As the safety equipment on this aircraft may differ from that on other aircraft, please give us your attention as we bring you through this important safety briefing and on a journey through Singapore.
As a 5-star airline, it would be a sin not to try the food. I enjoyed that it had Asian inspiration, and quality salmon was a surprise for economy. Yum yum. Adding to the luxury experience, I had a glass of white wine. This was completed in delicious style with a Häagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream. Followed by the TV show 90 Day Fiancé, which is typically about Americans who find love abroad on the internet, and it's normally pretty dramatic. Speaking of drama, as we land next to downtown Singapore, this is going to be an interesting connection. We're landing a tiny bit late and I really don't want to miss it, because if I do, I might miss the next flight on day 7.
So at the minute, not very happy with Singapore Airlines.
I know, I'm partly to blame. I should have known better than to pick these flights. It was only last month connecting with KLM where the connection was 40 minutes. I made the flight and my bag didn't. And because I was flying onwards to Shanghai with Swiss, which was magical, and then Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong, I didn't see my bag for 4 days. The lesson here is simple: pack extra things and avoid tight connections. After running like an idiot, the flight is delayed anyway, to allow those who are running late to catch the flight. Why didn't they tell me this before?
So made it to flight number 5 on another A380. Doing well.
Amazingly, pretty much every seat on board was taken, having checked the seat map beforehand. This really is a popular route, and Australia, much like Japan, seems to have really rebounded since the pandemic. Do you guys have any tips for sleeping economy? I personally find the position really strange, and as a result, always struggle. At this point, I'm really struggling. After giving up on sleep, who was I kidding? Anyway, tucking into a nice piece of chicken breast with edamame beans, and the magic of skipping video clips, we're over Alice Springs, with just under 3 hours until we arrive into Sydney. Despite the shadow, if you look close enough, you can just see the famous Sydney Harbour Bridge just in the background. I love flying, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this as a job, but all I could think about was getting to the hotel, showering and sleeping. And with such a huge time difference from my first flight all the way back in London, I was suffering a headache, which only sleep could cure. I imagine some of you are watching the video and trying to guess my routing. Maybe you can drop us a comment below if you think there was a better way to do the trip so far. But for now, I'm heading over to the domestic terminal, which is just a short train ride away. Why? I'm staying at the Moxie part of Marriott. See you tomorrow for day 7. Yesterday was long, but today's the flight I've been most anxious about. Because, having barely adapted to the local time zone, I'm catching QF11, which departs Sydney at 11:10 in the morning, arriving into Los Angeles the next day at 6 AM. Looking at the time zones, I'm amazed I slept so well. A full 12 hours. That can't be good. A very quick shower, and then I'm walking to the airport, which takes 25 minutes, including the train, one stop to the international terminal. And that's because unfortunately the shuttle bus is full.
Good morning from a very cloudy Sydney airport. Anyway, in today's video we're travelling on Qantas on the Airbus A380, which is always exciting. But I have treated myself today. I am still flying in economy, but I have picked the best seat in the house.
Which in my opinion technically isn't cheating, because I'm still flying in economy. But you'll see what I mean when we get on board. Oneworld status means I get to use this very posh and white marble check-in area, and I'm heading straight to what is considered one of the best lounges in the world. It has been on my bucket list and Brent's, who unfortunately wasn't on the trip, forever. This trip is all about punishing myself, hence why I'm only travelling in economy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it wouldn't be so challenging if I did this purely in first class or business. It would also be insanely expensive, so I'll do a separate review as the lounge truly deserves one, but here's a sneak preview. Today's flight will be on board this 13-year-old Qantas Airbus A380, which as I discovered has not been refurbished and features the old hard product seats. If you happen to fly this one, you should know that it has only Australian plug sockets, so the only way to charge a device is via USB-A. You probably think I look quite smug, and I don't normally because I'm very down to earth.
I feel like I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party!
The lower deck of Qantas A380 has first class at the front, followed by 3 sections of economy. I'm in the second section of economy in seat 70D, which besides the bulkhead seats which have more legroom at the front, there is no seat in front. Yes, it cost me, but the flight lasts 14 hours and I really wanted to make this as comfortable as possible. Remember, this is my 6th flight within 7 days. No takeoff footage because I'm nowhere near the window. But this was an amazing flight because out of the 4 seats on my middle row, all 4 were vacant. How amazing is that? Naturally, I ate, watched TV and then attempted to make the most of the 4 seats. It is not easy, believe me. So I was more than happy when we began our approach into Los Angeles. The USA has a reputation for some of the longest immigration lines in the world, but today was surprisingly reasonable, which is a shame because it's 7 in the morning and far too early to check into my hotel. I've chosen to stay at the Westin, which has a reasonable rate going, and through some luck, they've kindly given me a beautiful room which has views on the 12th floor, with both runways. How wonderful. I don't need a good room though because LAX is a lot of fun. Top right of the airport is the Instagram famous spot you've probably seen on Instagram. Which is home to In-N-Out Burger. I cannot tell you though how excited and relieved I am to be in Los Angeles, because tomorrow is the final flight home.
So welcome to LAX. This is our last and final leg in the A380 and British Airways in economy. I can tell you it's been absolutely exhausting, and the jet lag.
I am dead inside.
You can probably see from my eyes. Let's go.
I cannot express in words how I feel at this point. I'm just happy to be heading home after what has been an incredible, fun and exhausting trip. So let's get checked in and it's off for a little bit of pampering at the lounge. But first, my final journey will depart at 2050. The A380 will take 10 hours and 20 minutes, touching down to London Heathrow at 15:10 the next day, adding a final 5,440 miles to the grand total. We'll calculate the full journey details for the entire trip right at the end. This is my second time on the route. Unfortunately, last time the flight was delayed and I would have missed my connection, so they kindly put me on the earlier flight, which was a Boeing 777. But not today. I want to end this trip how it started. Unfortunately though, it wasn't straightforward though, because the engine in the rear of the plane, called an APU, had failed, and it took over an hour to find local equipment to start the plane. I don't really care though, because either way, I'm going home. Just like Qatar, I'm on the upper deck, all the way at the back in seat 75K. Massive storage bin and a window. I'm more than content. Let's just hope I have someone nice to sit next to, or better yet, an empty seat. And with the engines finally started, the safety video can play. I like it, but I still think the older one is funnier. Who doesn't love Mr. Bean? Ah, thanks for asking. But no, I didn't sleep. Luckily, Brent has kindly offered to pick me up. Such a saint. In the end, I was sitting next to a lovely French lady who was the ideal passenger. I did really enjoy the chocolate mousse and managed to keep busy somehow. Looking back, I would not volunteer to do this trip, even if you paid me, because the strain on the body is insane. On some days, I just felt down, even though I knew nothing was wrong. And the time zones were murder. And with the sun shining out the window, I can practically smell England. Probably because I'm having an English breakfast. And with freedom in sight, I really do love my job, but I don't want to see another plane, airport or immigration queue for quite some time.
So I'm just here outside Terminal 5 and that was one hell of a journey all the way around the world. Let's have a look back at the statistics, how far we've travelled and what we've done.
Firstly, I probably could have done back-to-back flights and achieved this in 8 days or less, but I ran the risk of missing flights and having to pay for last-minute replacements, no doubt at a very high cost. It did take me a long time to work out the logistics for this trip, including hotels and even trying to work out the route. We've travelled to 7 different countries, 7 different flights, even if sadly one of them wasn't on the A380, thanks Qatar. This is the most amount of miles I've done in one trip. And after totting up the figures, the journey was an incredible...
Drum roll please. That's your drum roll.
26,053 miles.
Oh my God!
Would I recommend trying this? Perhaps not. It was incredibly exhilarating and so much fun. Those I told along the route, who were mainly cabin crew, were incredibly shocked but impressed that I was attempting to try this. Either way, thank you so much for joining me on the journey and watching to the end. Safe travels, I'm off to hibernate for the next 5 days.